Hey y'all, hi. So, as many of you know, I am a passionate lover of beautiful things. I especially love beautiful garments. I take a lot of pleasure in buying and owning and wearing beautiful and special and striking clothing. But thoughtful consumerism is really important to me, and especially when it comes to the garments in my wardrobe. These days, I don't want to buy a garment unless I feel fairly confident that I'm going to keep it and keep wearing it for years. So before I buy a garment, I'm always paying attention to which fabrics it's made out of, how well constructed it seems to be, what the care instructions are, and what all of that means about how well it might physically last. But there's another aspect to the endurance of a garment in my wardrobe that has to do with style. If I buy a sweater one winter and it's beautifully made and I take really good care of it and it lasts forever, that's not going to help me if it's a style that I thought that I would like, but just a couple of months later, I realize it doesn't suit me. I don't like wearing it. It doesn't spark joy. And I'm turning around and giving it away or selling it, or it's just sitting in the back of my wardrobe unworn. And in many ways, this part of choosing something that will endure, choosing something that will last stylistically through the seasons and through the years, is the trickiest part because it requires me to know myself. It requires me to try to predict the future of my own desires as best I can. And of course, you can't entirely predict the future, but I think that sitting down and really constructing a vision for myself of how I want to interact with my clothes in the coming years, how I want to look and feel inside my body, inside my clothes, really goes a long way. It's something that I do every once in a while. I use Pinterest for it, and I don't do it like every season because I'm not changing this aspirational vision board every season. I'm not trying to have a total about face in the way that I look and feel inside my body, inside my clothes every season. But I do feel like there's a slow evolution, maybe every 5 or 7 years. And the last time that I sat down and built a Pinterest board for myself like this to be a guiding light when it comes to thoughtful purchases, it was actually during my no-buy year. It was 5 years ago. And I did it at that time to help myself make decisions when I was decluttering my wardrobe. And I've been referencing that same Pinterest board for style ever since then. And just this past month, I realized that it was time for me to build a new one. A collection of images that have their roots in my existing wardrobe, but that are also inspirational and forward-thinking for me, and they're going to help me make really good, thoughtful, lasting, enduring clothing purchases, hopefully over the next several years. I put this board together on instinct. I was just searching for images that I liked based on keywords, designers, letting Pinterest suggest images based on the images that I'd already chosen. And now it's time for me to comb through them and articulate to myself and to you why certain images are on this board, what I like about them, and what they might indicate about purchases that I might make in the coming months. If you watched my recent video, my weird interior design inspo, and you enjoyed it, as so many of you did, then get excited because this is basically the fashion version of that video. If this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I feel like if you made it through this pretty lengthy introduction, you've gotten a really good sense of what I'm about here. Thoughtful consumerism, a love of beauty that's not bogged down by overspending or obsessive buying of the next new thing all the time. I want to really love what I own, and for me, I find that following a quality over quantity model helps me get there. If you enjoy this, please subscribe, and now let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Image number 1. This is the first image that I put on the board. It's kind of like the seed image for the board. And to me, there's so much going on here. Some things that I know that I already love and that I already have in my wardrobe. A very, very deep V. That's something that I love. It's like my favorite neckline, and I know that I have garments like that. So I know that I can get some of the satisfaction of what I'm seeing in this image from garments that I already have. I know that a really bright pop of almost almost magenta red is basically the only super strong pop of color that I've already cultivated in my wardrobe. Really, really bright red. I wear a lot of neutrals, and then I have a bunch of pops of everything from this like quite pink color that you see in this garment hanging back here in my studio through to really fire engine red or deep red. For a very long time, I've had on my wish list a pair of trouser pants like this in a color like this. So I understand why they're showing up here. Of course, these pants are defined by the fact that they're incredibly slouchy and oversized. And I feel like with this image in mind, if I go thrift shopping and I'm shopping in like the men's suits, which is something that I've been intending to do for a long time, but I haven't quite gotten there yet, I could so see myself being emboldened by this image to buy a pair of men's pants that are really, really slouchy and big on me. And they're sitting low on my hips. And then the crotch is really, really dropped like it is in this image. I think without having seen this image, I might have run into a pair of pants like that at a thrift shop, put them on and just been like, but this is too much. Everyone can tell that I'm just wearing these massive men's pants. With this image in mind, I feel like I could really make that work. I could really make it fashion. And I'm excited to go looking for a pair of pants that fits me the way that these pants fit the model in this image. The biggest surprise for me here, because it's not out of the box for me to wear a slouchy, oversized sweater with slouchy, oversized pants. That's something that I do already most of the time. But the pink, the bubblegum pink of the sweater and how much I love it and how much I want it is a real surprise for me, in spite of the fact that I'm wearing kind of like a very bright, icy, pale pink shirt today. This is kind of the only thing in my wardrobe that is this color. It was a surprise when I bought it, and I love wearing it because I love the way the color looks and feels on me. This image is a reminder that I actually do really like this color. I would be afraid to, especially to invest in a sweater that costs a good amount of money, like something really, really well-made, conscientiously made that I feel like is going to last forever. I would formerly have been afraid to choose this color in a garment like that. I would have gone for something more neutral. But I feel like I see in this image the thousands of possibilities for wearing a pale bubblegum pink sweater like this. I feel like it's not just with these red pants, but I could see it going with a printed pant, a printed skirt, a green pant, black pants, ochre pants. Like I just feel like the way in which it's being put with these really, really bright lipstick red pants is showing me how versatile and playful this color pink can be, and how actually kind of editorial and fashion it can feel, rather than just feeling like the most girly choice when choosing colors of t-shirts from a catalog when I was a kid. You know, like that's kind of what I tend to associate this color with. And this image has really turned that association on its head. I think another really strong takeaway from this image, just interesting as long as it's up here, is that when it comes to swathing oneself from shoulders to toes in like drapey, slouchy fabric, it can go a long way to have one patch of skin showing. In this case, it's the very, very deep V, right? It's exposed all the way down to here, and it really balances the silhouette. Another option in this case would be something sleeveless, right? If the sweater were crew neck, but it were sleeveless, I feel like that would be balanced, and we might see some of that later. Or if the sweater were a crew neck and long sleeve like this, but the pants were culottes, cutting off under her knees, or even shorts, like cutting off above her knees, I feel like that would be balanced. That kind of balance is something I think about a lot, and this image is just giving me another touchstone for it. So thinking about the fact that I might be in the market for a sweater this color is doing a lot for me right now. And the main thing that I've noticed it doing is keeping me from buying or wanting to buy sweaters in more neutral colors, or even tops in more neutral colors, because I have a lot of black. Every time I've been attracted to like a lightweight summery cotton sweater lately, I've been like, well, I could get the black one or I could get the neutral colored one. And then I'm like, well, wait a second. What about that idea to get a pink one? That would be a step forward. That would be something more robust, something enlivening your wardrobe, whereas getting another black sweater would not. And it kind of helps to tamp or calm down that desire to buy another of the kind of thing that I already have, because I would rather just continue on the search for something a little bit more exciting like what we're seeing in this image. Okay, here is another image from my Pinterest board. The point of including this is to remind myself that it's okay not to wear something completely monochromatic, because I really love wearing the same color or the same tone from head to toe. And this is the total opposite of that, a stark white top with black pants. I don't usually do this, but I do have flowy black pants like this, and I do have some white shirts, and I can put together something that represents the vibes of this outfit easily. And when I look at it, I really feel like this sort of dancerly, cotton-swathed ease in the body, walking around barefoot. There is also the balance of femininity and masculinity that I love. That was also in the last image, but I was talking about it for too long, so I moved on. There's a structural quality, a boldness, but there's also this very flexible, fluid quality. All of this I love, and all of it I can achieve using what I already own. I just tend to shy away. When I'm wearing black pants that have this vibe, I tend to wear a black shirt. But then lately, because I have been using my same clothes that I've been collecting over the past 4 or 5 years, wearing them kind of in the same combination, season after season, wearing my black pants with my black shirt, season after season, these days I've just been starting to feel like it needs a little refresher. I need to freshen that up. I'm tired of just wearing my same black t-shirt with my same black pants. That feeling of wanting to freshen it up is one of the things that often causes me to feel like I should buy something new. But this image reminds me that just breaking my sort of internal rule to keep a monochromatic aspect from head to toe, which I think has gotten more entrenched than I ever meant for it to be, breaking that internal rule will give me outfits that feel fresh without having to buy anything. Okay, this image I'll speak about briefly, this image of the woman in the long white dress with the leather jacket over it. I'm pretty sure that I just put this on the board because recently when I was filming the video about recreating current fashion trends using my clothes that I already own, I got Joe's leather jacket and I used it to style some outfits because I don't own a biker jacket, and that was one of the trends that came up when I was prepping for that video. The jacket that this woman is wearing fits her exactly the same way that Joe's biker jacket fits me. Like, this is exactly what it was like when I had it on. And I absolutely love the way this looks. This long, simple dress with flat sandals and a biker jacket over top. Like, this is an outfit that I could just put on tomorrow. I don't have a white dress like this, but I have some tie-dyed caftans that fit me really similarly. This is another one that is inspiring me to wear the clothes that I already own and that Joe already owns in a slightly new way rather than buying something new. Okay, let's talk about oversized knitted vests, which I think have been in fashion for a couple of summers now. I've never bought one. I'm thinking about looking around for one that might be the one that would last forever, because the idea has been percolating for a long time. And I found myself adding a couple of images of knitted vests to this Pinterest board. So let's talk about this one with the deep V, which is something that I love. Very oversized. I mean, the back of it is going all the way down, I think, past the seat of the woman's pants in the back, and the armholes are really low. Those are all things that I really like in a slouchy, oversized garment. I could totally see myself combining my interest in this type of garment with my interest in something in a soft bubblegum pink color. This vest, but in that color, made in a material that I can wear in the summer, so it would have to be cotton, and made well enough to really last. At this stage, having built this Pinterest board and percolated on it for a really long time, I could see myself making that purchase. But that's the kind of thing that if I hadn't made this board and I had just come across it, even if I was attracted to it, I would be like, but this makes no sense. I don't wear this color and I've never bought a knitted vest. And I can't trust that it's actually part of the vision that I'm building for how I want my wardrobe to sing together. But having made this board, having looked at these images over and over again, I feel like I can trust that. And I'm not spending a bunch of time actively looking for a thing like that, and maybe I'll never come across it. But if I do, especially if it's like in a thrift shop or a designer consignment shop or something like that, if I do, I feel like I'll kind of know what I'm doing if I buy it. I'll know what I'm buying because it'll be grounded in this imagery that I've collected. Okay, let's do a little bit of trend spotting on my Pinterest board. So I'm going to show you 4 or 5 images that all to me have something in common and are kind of telling me something. So first up is this one with the model in a sort of like salmon sweater with some detailing around the shoulders and the neckline, pink corduroy pants, and rust rust-colored leather booties. I surprised myself by putting this on the board because I don't wear jeans very much. I just have like one or two. I have two pairs of a kind of jeans that I really, really love. Even them, I don't wear them as often because I like to feel really free in my clothes, and I find that they're just a little bit stiff compared to most clothes that I wear. So it's not really about the corduroy here. And even the sweater with that detailing, I'm not that into it, or the sweater over the collared shirt, I'm not that into that, and I'm not that into the shape of the booties. To me, it's really about the color combinations here, the color blocking, and about that pink showing up again. Again, this color that I never thought that I was into, that I don't own anything in. Like I don't own anything in this bubblegum color. And here it's showing up in combination with a color that I do really like, which is sort of like a rusty terracotta salmon. And I do own a lot of garments in that color. It's like this image is showing me that this color, this pink color that I'm kind of starting to think might have a place in my life, could work with a bunch of the garments that I already own. This gives me a touchstone for like how I would wear those things together. This is an image from Baba, this image of a redheaded woman in a red sweater with orange pants that contains a garment that I already own. So this red high turtleneck sweater, I bought it for myself last winter. Obviously, it's inspirational for me. I mean, I own this garment and I really love this look. It's really standing out to me because similar to the other image, we have like these warm tones combined. So she's wearing the red sweater with this sort of salmony pink pants, and then I think something else kind of salmony pink layered underneath it. And so it too is talking to me about this kind of monochromatic but not outfit, like colors that all sort of are in the same realm, but they're not exactly matching. This is another one. This is much more monochromatic, head to toe red. That's something that I really love. And so of course I was attracted to this right away and put it on my board right away. And here's another one, a monochromatic red outfit. The reds are a little bit different tone. I think that her shoes might even be burgundy, even though they might look black in some lights, and a red lip. I absolutely love this. All these images of head to toe red, head to toe rust, mixed rust with pink. It's showing me that if I were to acquire a pair of pants in this color, there would be multiple ways that I could wear it. I could wear it with the maybe pink sweater. I could wear it with all of my rust and terracotta. I could wear it with my red sweater that I already have. And then the final image in this group that I was collecting, because they're all kind of speaking to each other, similar idea, but it's all pink, right? So pink corduroy pants, which we've already seen, and an oversized pink sweater with a V-neck, which we've already seen. I feel like I could see any one of the garments across any of those 5 images, any one of the tops, the red sweater, the pink sweater, the sort of salmony sweater with the detailing, the red shirt. I could see any of those working with any of the bottoms. The pink corduroy, the salmon colored slouchy pants, the bright red trousers. And again, that's really helping me build kind of my confidence and my vision when it comes to thinking about the role that a pink garment, either top or bottom, and the role that any more red garments, either top or bottom, would play in my wardrobe and how they would interact with my other garments. This image was also on my old Pinterest board, the original one that I built 5 years ago that I told you about. I want to briefly talk about why I think I kept this image on this Pinterest board, why I keep coming back to it, and why I find it so useful. So the model in this image is wearing a very delicate, floaty top. And we're seeing a lot of tops like this still, right? So puffed sleeves, ruffles, lace, this sort of like floaty, blousy top. And I really like tops like this, and I have a number of them. But sometimes I feel like when I put on a top like this, it really makes a girl out of me. Like it really skews very Anne of Green Gables on me, or kind of young on me. And this image is sort of showing me a way to ground that floofiness and ruffled quality and that silhouette that's very evocative of certain specific historical references, how to ground it in something that feels quite modern and quite masculine. And it's partly the pants, right? She's wearing these like slouchy trousers, and I do have slouchy trousers. It's partly the flats, right? It's the fact that she's wearing flat shoes with it, so there's that total groundedness on the ground. But it's also posture, right? It's the way that she's sitting and inhabiting this frilly blouse in a very casual, almost disgruntled way, like just a very saucy way, wearing the blouse in an easy way. It's the ruffles, the lace are not causing her to be a little bit more straight backed and a little bit more buttoned up. Looking at this image makes me feel like wearing the tops that I have that sort of fit the paradigm of the top she's wearing. Wearing them isn't as hard as I think it is. Pulling it off isn't as hard as I think it is. I feel like I look at this and I see how I can wear a top like this rather than letting it wear me. Okay, let's move into something very exciting. Let's do some more trend spotting. So I started building this Pinterest board and I ended up with all of these images of floor length or ankle length floral skirts with really dynamic prints with slouchy sweaters on top of them. I'll show them all to you now one by one. I think that this is an image from an Ulla Johnson runway, and it's exactly what I just said, right? The skirt is completely touching the floor and there's this slouchy sweater on top of it. The skirt, whether it's a dress or a skirt, I can't tell, but the bottom half of it is printed in a dynamic print and the sweater is a solid color. This one might be my favorite. The dress or skirt is purple and ruffled and has all of these layers. It's tiered at the bottom, very statement, very loud in its own way. And then the sweater is solid color, but also very bright color. It's this bright orange. This image, I believe, is being featured here because of the sock sandal. There's a lot going on here that I really love, actually. The sock sandal thing, the ostrich feathers on the sweater, that's all lovely, but that's not what it's about for me, right? It's about the fact that there's this printed skirt on bottom with the solid color sweater layered over it. And here we have it again, right? A white and yellow and green printed skirt with a sweater that's so oversized, the kind of complements, and it's so oversized it goes all the way down to the top of the thighs of the woman who's wearing this outfit. Now, there are a couple of takeaways here for me. One, I can achieve this already because I have a handful of maxi dresses, printed dresses, and I have a number of sweaters. I know that it's summer and I know that there is a bunch of knitwear in these images, okay? I just really love knitwear and I have been thinking about what it would look like to try to do this, but not with knitwear, right? So an oversized t-shirt, for example, on top of a maxi skirt or on top of a dress. But when it comes to replicating this exact imagery with sweaters, which is something I probably can't do at this very moment because it's summer, but again, this isn't just like this season's inspiration. I'm talking about envisioning, sculpting my entire wardrobe going forward for years and years. I could take almost any one of my oversized sweaters, of which I have a handful, and almost any one of my maxi dresses, of which I have a handful, and put together an outfit that is evocative of this, that would belong on the same runway as all of the people and all of the imagery that I just showed you. So that's very exciting. But the other thing that it kind of shows me is that it might be time for me to think about skirts because I haven't purchased a skirt in years and I don't really own any skirts, anything like this. It's actually, this is sort of an extension of the desire that I talked about a couple months ago in my video about what might be on my wish list. And I was talking about that floor length floral cotton skirt from La Double J that I'm definitely not going to buy because it's like $500. As you can see from these images, I'm still chewing on that idea and thinking about how it would work to have a garment like that in my wardrobe. I'm trying to refine the vision of how it would interact with other articles of clothing and how it would look and feel to have it so that I can be confident that I'm making a good decision when it comes time to decide on something like that. I could also see the bubblegum colored sweater, the V-necked vest, or the bubblegum colored V-necked sweater vest, if that's what it ends up being, layered over any of these dresses or worn as the top half of an outfit like this if the bottom half is a skirt. And I'm excited to see, it's almost like in my mind, I can see my Pinterest board pictures like having babies with each other. I feel like it's when I start to see that happening, when I start to see them speaking to each other and working with each other, that I'm really getting clarity clarity about which kinds of decisions would be good decisions when it comes to buying things for myself. Because it's that kind of visioning, that kind of clarity about how a single garment will function in its interactions with other garments in your wardrobe, and then also far into the future with things like layering and through different seasons. That can be hard when you are just going out into the world to go clothes shopping completely unprepared, no vision of how you want to look and feel inside your clothes, and not a clear sense of how your existing wardrobe interacts with itself. Then you can get yourself in a situation where you're like, I don't know, I think it's nice. It could work. It looks good. It could work, maybe, but you don't have the tools in that moment to actually apply forethought to the decision. I am clearly very visual, so imagery really helps me to develop those tools. Spending time with imagery in advance of or instead of actually shopping really helps me. So let's look at a couple of more images and see how they are reinforcing or speaking to things we've already discussed. So this image I saved right here, the woman in the really, really bright fluorescent yellow sweater over a gray skirt with these blue pumps. So the V-neck sweater, the very, very deep V, that is something, that's like a repeated theme across some of these images. The slouchy sweater over the skirt, that is a repeated theme that we're seeing coming up here. The bright color, the kind of color blocking, that is something that I'm very surprised to see coming up over and over again here. I'm surprised that I saved a couple of images of pink sweaters and this image of a really bright yellow V-neck sweater. And looking at it now and looking at it in the context of the other images that I like, I can see this sweater actually being versatile. I could see myself wearing it in a bunch of different ways with a bunch of different outfits, a bunch of different bottom halves. And that's a mind-opening thing for me. Usually I would look at a sweater like this and be like, oh no, it's too much of a statement. It's too bold. I would just wear it once. I would only have one other thing that I wore it with, and it would just be too much. And I would feel like I was too much when I wore it. But in this context, in the context of the board and what the board itself is helping me to see inside my own existing wardrobe, I could see a sweater like this working for me. I wouldn't go out and buy like a fluorescent yellow sweater and a pink sweater, but it's the kind of the same thing. You know, it's like me getting used to the idea of owning something in a bolder color, a more statement color like this, really leaning into wearing it over and over and over again and figuring out ways to make it work in multiple settings, multiple applications. I really love this image of a Gucci dress from a Gucci runway at some point. Again, we're seeing pink. Again, we're seeing the very, very deep V-neck. And again, we're seeing somebody's pretty much swathed in fabric from head to toe, and in other ways sort of slouchy, like everything about it is kind of slouchy except for the very exposed chest and clavicle all the way down to here. That is a look that I really, really love. This is another Gucci garment, a Gucci outfit that I absolutely love. And here again, we have someone wearing a single print that is completely covering the entire body from neck all the way down to ankles and wrists. And I feel like this is something that I might come across a dress like this in a thrift store or something and be like, I don't know, it's just too much. It's too conservative. It's buttoned all the way up and it's going all the way to the floor. But having seen these images, I have a way to understand how fashion it can be to wear a garment like that and to be completely swathed in fabric like that and in a bold printed fabric at that. I have the context and it really makes me want to do that. I have a dress that can be buttoned all the way up, but I usually wear it unbuttoned. And it has a cloth belt that I wrap around to define the waist, but it could also be worn unbelted and more of a smock silhouette. And I feel like with that dress, if I were to button it all the way up and leave off the waistband so that it was a smock, it would be much more like this. And I'm kind of excited to give that a try, wearing my same dress in a different way that matches the image, some of this imagery more. All right, I've been talking for kind of a long time and I think that I need to wind down, but there's one other kind of trend on the board that I haven't really touched on yet and I want to talk about it now. So I have a bunch of images, I'm just pulling them all up, of outfits that have strapless or cutout tops with very high-waisted, very voluminous trousers. And I know that I love voluminous high-waisted trousers, and I have a pair of very high-waisted trousers that I recently acquired. And I really love the idea of pushing myself to wear those trousers and any other pants that I might have with skimpier tops that show more skin. It's something that I used to do. I used to wear more form-fitting clothing more frequently, or, cut out tops, tighter tops, those kind of things more frequently when I was dancing tango all the time. So I used to have this outlet in my life for dressing in a way that's more like this, a little bit more sensual, especially on the top half, showing more skin. And I think that when I was dancing tango all the time, one of the things I enjoyed about the way I would dress myself when I wasn't going out dancing was that it was kind of the foil to that. Basically, my tango clothing wardrobe became this much more bodycon revealing part of my wardrobe. And then the rest of my wardrobe really went in like the total other direction, where I'm more often more covered up. And I haven't been dancing tango very much for the past several years, and I'm starting to kind of miss this side of myself. And I think that I saw that the fact that I'm missing that emerge from my subconscious when I started putting together this Pinterest board, and I was drawn to so many images of what really seemed to be people wearing like bodysuits or tight tank tops that are tucked into high-waisted pants. And it fits with an aspect of my wardrobe that's already there, which is the high-waisted pants. You know what I mean? I already have pants that I could use to do this. I'm not going to go out and buy a whole bunch of tight tops, but it's doing a couple of things. It's putting it on my radar to think about keeping an eye out maybe for one or two bodysuits or tops that are evocative of some of these images that I could wear with my high-waisted trousers and get an effect like this. And two, it's helping me to pull back a little bit when I feel really tempted to buy yet another like blousey, frilly, slouchy, oversized thing, because I have a number of blousey, slouchy, frilly, oversized things. And I do love them, right? I know why I have them and I do wear them. But building this Pinterest board in the interest of helping myself be a little more forward thinking and helping myself make a few thoughtful, careful purchases that will actually evolve and freshen my wardrobe instead of getting stuck in the trench of buying the same type of thing over and over again. Trying to give myself a blueprint here for stepping outside of my comfort zone, but doing it confidently and in a direction that I know will be sustainable, rather than just being like, I'm going to try this season, maybe yellow, let's see how that goes. Instead of doing that, I'm like, well, it feels like it might be a wild decision to buy a bubblegum pink sweater, but I know where I'm going with it. So it's both super exciting and fresh feeling and giving me something that I feel like I've never had before, and keeping me grounded as a thoughtful consumer in that place of making sure that I only buy things that I think that I'm going to love and wear basically forever. Okay, I came back to the middle to deliver my outro, but I kind of feel like I just delivered my outro while I was over there. I finished it off by telling you why I'm doing this, talking about creating a blueprint so that I can step outside of my comfort zone with the confidence that it doesn't mean that I'm going to be making purchases that aren't thoughtful or purchases that end up being unwise. And I hope that this was interesting for you. I felt like it would be really fun because I'm obsessed with these images. And then we got in there and I felt like I was just saying like, I want a bubblegum pink sweater over and over again. At the very least, I hope that this has inspired you to use images as a way of clarifying for yourself or guiding yourself towards what you want for yourself, if that's something that you've never done before. It has actually been a revelation to me. And I feel like I don't talk about it enough on YouTube, how useful my fashion Pinterest board from 5 years ago has been for me over the last 5 years, and how excited I am to be building a new one and potentially taking baby steps towards making some purchases inspired by the new board. So even if this video didn't quite hit the mark, maybe there will be a way to continue to incorporate these images or this Pinterest board in the future. And if you see any bubblegum pink sweaters with a very deep V, let me know in an Instagram DM. Okay, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.